Hi, Kathleen. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm here to interview Lynda or La Bleu, who is a fantastic author and a part of the team that I guess you could say I kind of ramrod. It's the Transcendent Authors. And I want her to introduce herself as to who she is and where she is, and then also to tell us how she met our group.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Lynda, you've got it.
Okay. So, good afternoon. My name is Lynda. I write as L'Michelle Bleu L'eau, and I live in Connecticut, where it is cold right now, but the leaves are beautiful. I came to know Transcendent Authors actually through a student and a student that I was in class with in DIY MFA, Sophia, and she and I became friends. We were within a group of students, and she and I became friends. And I know she was a part of the group actually before it actually had the name.
Mm-hmm.
And when she was coming out, she made a suggestion that I join the group to get some pieces published. And so that's how I came into the group. And it's grown because
Yes.
now it has a name and it's website. We worked on the website and a number of things. So, yes.
Yes, she has helped us grow immeasurably. Now, I wanted to find out what your motivation for writing was. What
Okay.
caused you to start writing?
Okay. I started writing probably junior high school. My father, along with everything else that he did, was wrote prolifically. He was actually a great speaker, and I used to watch him taking notes and writing these speeches and just going through the process. And I wanted to write, but I didn't really put it to practice until much later. I had started working on a novel. I had written book reviews for a local newspaper. And it was interesting reading the books, and then you write the reviews and you go through the whole process of cleaning it up so that it's ready for publication. And when I was in grad school, I actually had an idea for a story and started jotting down and taking notes. When I graduated, I had pretty much a solid outline of a novel that I wanted to work on. I applied, I was working, but then I applied for an MFA program and workshopped the story for 2 semesters and got a lot of feedback on it, and then just started building the novel from there. So I've been writing now about 7 years, 7, 8 years, solidly writing for about 7, 8 years.
That's incredible. I envy you. It took me so much longer to get into it. Um, you're a very, very active woman. You teach, you counsel, you write, you create trailers, you are so artistic and creative. How do you balance those commitments with your writing?
That's a good question. Um, well, I need to work to pay to write. So, that is a part of it right there. What I actually do is to really structure my schedule. Um, I use probably a lot of the techniques that I learned working in corporate America all those years. I work in a Franklin Covey, so I can lay things out. I know
Mhm.
how much time I need to dedicate to work and do what I need, the prep time for that. And then I designate the rest of the time for writing and creating. When I'm in the creative mode, when we talk about the trailers, and I've learned some new techniques for the trailers. So my trailers are kind of being upgraded right now. Doing book cover designs and things like that. That's all I do. I don't write during that time frame. That's all I'm doing is strictly creating. And so I block off a couple of days a week to do that. I'm also an editor now for a newsletter. That takes up a lot of time. So I build that in. And then I write. The rest of the time I write. I don't sleep. I'm not the best sleeper, so I shouldn't say I don't sleep. I do sleep. So when most people are up at 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm probably still asleep because I've gone to bed like about 3:30, 4 o'clock. The
You're
last
a
thing I
night
do.
Night writer.
I am a night writer. The very last thing that I do when I get into bed is to read. So I try to read at least 2 novels a month,
Hmm.
so that, because you can't write without reading. And so I try to read other works to get inspired, to get ideas, to look at how things are written, or go like, yeah, well, I'm not going to do that in my story, that kind of thing. So, it's really balancing out. I think if you looked at my planner, my daily planner,
Hmm.
I looked at it a month, you'll see my students when I'm teaching, that's all I'm doing is teaching. When I'm doing work prep for my students, that's all I'm doing. So I block it out. I don't try to mix and match. And then, of course, it's the administrative piece that I do, and that's probably like midday.
Hmm.
Check emails, make phone calls, and everything. I block out time for that. But I'm good. I've gotten good at just blocking to blocks, working in blocks of time.
It's kind of like compartmentalizing.
Exactly, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly, exactly.
that's
And in between everything, taking that transition. So when I finished, say, admin work, then I'm either doing something else. I'm leaving the office. As I hit the pavement every day, and I do Tai Chi as well. So those are automatically built into my schedule. Tai Chi is like one of the first things I do, in the
well,
morning.
that's working not only your body, but it's giving you balance to your life.
Exactly,
And
exactly.
I know that you've had several challenges in the last 18 months.
Hmm.
And I was so tickled because, as we said before we came on, it's like we haven't seen each other in so
I know
long
it.
because of your work schedule and my work schedule.
Right.
And you have a voice now.
I do have a
You had
voice.
lost your
I had
voice.
lost my voice for about 7.5 months. Um, and in the process of losing my voice is when I developed doing the trailers. It's just another way to communicate, and also just take my artistic stuff to a whole new level. And I learned to adjust to not having a voice. And that was a huge adjustment initially. Like once I got over the diagnosis and it's this, whatever. And then I just started working from there. So I lost my voice. Then I damaged my shoulder and my hand, and need to have a shoulder replacement. And my answer to the shoulder replacement is Tai Chi. The damage to my hand, it's Tai Chi. Um, I'm not taking any prescriptions or anything like that for that. And then this summer, I damaged my heel.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's not a bone spur, it's a specific name, but I damaged my heel. So I was in a surgical boot, and I was actually sitting in the office going like this, I just can't believe this, right? I'm sitting there like going, and he's saying, you're going to be in a boot for about 6 to 8 weeks. And I'm just looking at him like, I run every day. What are you talking about? And the first 3 weeks I couldn't do any exercise from the waist down,
hmm.
just to allow for the healing process to begin. And as soon as the surgical boot came off, I was back on the pavement, a little bit, increments
Hmm.
building up. But I think taking care of your body, and for me, I'm a big nature person. Communicating with nature, being out in nature, allows me to write better.
That's what I was going to ask. How do you think that that has impacted your writing? And I also wanted to have you talk a little bit about the genre that you write
Hmm.
in.
Hmm. Okay, so I think part of the nature, my connection to nature is also cultural. Um, it's cultural, and it's also innate for me. So I really, really connect with being outside, no matter what the weather is, but being outside, really hearing, seeing, observing nature, and then bringing that into my writing. So my writing, I usually focus on, I would say probably everything I've written. It's the human condition. It's the
Hmm.
human condition. And it's the perspective of how I see the human condition. So my characters embody not only that, what their experiences and how I connect nature to life itself, but their perspective. what are they going through? What do they see? And I really try to uh, create settings that, as you've seen some of my stuff, create settings where nature is involved,
Mm-hmm.
where you
Mm-hmm.
actually get to hear or to see what they're seeing or feel what they're feeling, even if they're in a car.
Yeah.
It's still a connection to the environment. What do we hear and see in the environment? So my stories are based on human conditions, how people overcome them, some of the challenges that we see um, in people interaction, whether rich or poor, black or white, green or white, whatever. I really delve into those kinds of situations and things that I've observed or may have even experienced, taken a little bit of an experience and then developing it into a story.
That's really cool. I know I enjoy reading your stuff. It touches deep on many levels. I know I write in a completely opposite genre, but it's this I am, science fiction, romance, space
Right,
opera with aliens.
right.
It just, but at the same time, it's still the same thing.
Mhm.
It's elements, it's people, and with the aliens, usually the aliens can be both the good guys and the bad guys,
Right.
and poor Earthlings are caught in the middle.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. It's funny, my novel that I'm working on now, when I workshopped it, one of the within the workshop, both semesters, uh my classmates, the one thing they got me on consistently was the detail. It's like, you've
Mm,
got so much detail. Can we take some of it out? There's so much, like if the characters in the elevator and I'm
mm-hmm,
describing what she's feeling in the elevator,
mm-hmm.
as it's going down, I'm creating that sound. What does it feel like? And when we were workshopping, that was the one thing. It's like, you have way too much detail.
Yeah.
To the point it's like almost overwhelming. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's, it's a learning experience. You learn what to keep, what to pull back a little bit. But it's still the human condition. It's still what you're feeling, what the character is feeling, what's going on in their life at that moment.
That and it's so important, but at the same time it's also important to know that some of that needs to just come out, like I'm because I do the same thing,
Hmm,
and
hmm.
then it just needs to be sprinkled in other
Exactly.
places, and then it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, yeah, oh wow.
Exactly. And it makes a big difference, or just, I call it on the computer floor. And then I just put it there on the side. And then you can go back maybe somewhere else and go like, didn't I have something? And sprinkle it in,
Yeah, I never
exactly at
throw it
that place.
away, I just pull it
Exactly.
out.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Tell us about the novel that you're about to debut, and where we'll be able to purchase it, the name of it, and where we'll be able to purchase it.
Well, the name of it is called The View from the Pew. Um, that's the name of it. It is this has been such a process of getting this written. It's been to the editor um, developmentally. It's been workshopped. I am now in the third round of doing my own edits and revisions of it. And it's about a woman who is just at the pinnacle of a career success. She's within range that day. She's waiting for the announcement to be made. And when she gets the call, disaster strikes. Things that she did not see coming come at her as a result of something that her husband has done. And it impacts her getting the promotion. And the story uh, works through what she goes through. She experiences, she has a daughter that she needs to protect. She experiences loss of income, loss of job, domestic violence, um, loss of a loved one, um, death of her. Eventually she, I don't want to tell you the whole thing, but eventually she experiences death in a unbelievable way and has to pull back up from that. And so it traces all these experiences that she has, and then the dream of the success that she thought she had in the beginning of the story comes in another form at the end. And it's something that she did not see coming at all, but it comes to her in a bigger way than she could have even imagined in the beginning. And there, I will tell you, there is a one piece that's throughout the story is that it's a pendant that her grandfather gave her that has a message on it, but she's never been able to read it. And at some point, she does meet someone who actually knows the origin of this pendant, and it ties into Egypt.
Oh, wow. How cool.
Yes. So that's the one little thread that's
well,
running through.
That's a what do you call it, cliffhanger for us.
It is. So right now, looking, I think my collection will probably come out before the novel. Right now, the novel it needs to be ready, the portion that I'm doing at least, by the 31st of January next year. And at that point, some decisions will be made as to where we're going. But I am working on a collection, so I think the collection will probably come out before the novel.
The collection is short stories.
The collection of short stories.
Do you have a title for it?
I do not yet. I'm still working on that. I'm working with someone in Canada on the collection. And so the collection, some of the stories you haven't seen, some of the stories are some of the stories you have seen, but the pieces that never made it into the story are in there. I've been listening to my beta readers on particularly my last 3 stories. And the one thing is the beta readers have given me some good ideas that I probably need to develop and run and take it even further. So the legacy, that's going to go further. The porcelain doll is in their collection. You didn't see that one, but the porcelain doll will have some additions in it. And what else am I doing? There's one other, the red leaf.
Okay.
Which was like one of the earlier pieces. So I am working on a collection with a group. Actually, it's a group in Canada in terms of publishing and seeing how that goes. And so that's going into kind of next year. So I'm balancing.
Okay. I have one more question for you.
Sure.
Do you have any final thoughts you'd like to leave with the audience?
I would say that if you have a dream, pursue the dream. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't fulfill your dream. Things that you want, you can do it, regardless of the challenges, regardless of the obstacles. You have to believe in yourself, even when no one else does.
Well, these last 18 months have proven that you are somebody who will go through. And I feel like the view from the pew is quite a bit of your story in one sense. The perseverance that you went through and will continue to go through. All of us have to. There's no easy way to achieve success.
Right.
Because if you don't pay the price before, you pay it after.
That's right.
And I prefer paying it before than afterward.
That's right. I agree with you 100%, Kathleen. You are so right. You are so right.
Well, thank you so much for sharing
and
being with us today. And we look forward to hearing more about your collection and seeing it, and about the story of View from the Pew. We'll look for that in January.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kathleen, for the time and opportunity.
Thank you.